Hello folks, thank you for coming back to another Tony Montana video. On this one, I am going to, I'm going to address an email I received from a Caitlin Bennett. Caitlin Bennett sent me an email seems like about 2 days ago and I'll show you the email. You can read the email here. This potentially could be someone, trying to, what do you go, entrap me. But I'm gonna take this as what I do is education. Talk about historical content, historical everything I talk is in historical context. So I'm going. Basically, she wanted me to look at 3 videos and all these attachments. I quickly looked at a couple of attachments here. And I did look at this video, so I'm gonna concentrate on this video, particularly for my video. I'm gonna get into this video, okay? So I'm gonna click on it and let you watch a piece of it. I'll make a comment and go on that way. All right, and later on I'll take care of the other ones. I see some people here. If you guys see yourself, who knew is a person here? Best of the Beast. Hey, we got our old, big bonafide APVT here as well. Let's see what's going on here. Again, I haven't really seen these, and I have not seen these 2 videos. I just saw the top comments up to here, and then this one. So I want to, this person, it's interesting, and I wanted to talk about him again. Hopefully, he doesn't feel offended by my input. So first we start with this. Well, I guess take this shit off. I don't know why. Oh, okay, let me take this off. All right, this is a very interesting image here. And obviously we can say that this has happened many times in our history, human history. We had human-to-human combat. We have human-to-human combat now as a MMA fighting. As we have bare knuckle fighting. We have all the kinds of fighting. We have team versus team fighting. We have all kinds of human to human combat. So this is not so far fetched. The only thing far fetched is people being naked. That naked part used to be maybe, I don't know if back in the day when we had slaves and we had mandingos fighting each other. I don't know if they were naked. I hope not, but I don't know that. I'm going as close to the modern time as I can remember. So obviously, as I said, MMA is a fighting sport. Boxing, we've had a person tear or rip the ear of another person in boxing. We could talk about Mike Tyson, for example. He did that. He had this type of savagery. Really, I'm not going to say from where he stemmed from, but he had that savagery, and he was famous because of that. But anyway, let's continue on because this is a 7-minute thing, and it hasn't even started.
Warn you now, you're going to want to check your ego at the door.
No problem. I got no ego.
There's no room for ego in the dog world.
Exactly.
And we're going to talk about dog fighters in this video.
Okay.
Any other breed of dog, any other working class of dog, these people that fight dogs cannot compete. They cannot hang. And if they were dealing with any other breed of dog, doing anything else, they would have been weeded out of the game years ago. What's up, guys? Let's talk about
let's clarify there. Obviously, when you say dogfighting, there's different levels of dogfighting. We got those street level fighters, people that basically, you got a dog, I got a dog. Let's put them together and fight them and see what happens. Yes, we have a lot of that. I would say no less than I would say 70% of people that fight dogs are at that level, at that Beavis and Butthead level. Okay, let's call it the Beavis and Butthead level of dog fighting. Then you have other people that actually have, they know the rules and know what expected of a dog that fights. And again, I'm going. This is a historical context, educational context. We're not talking about uploading anything illegal. This is a conversation, a topic that it's a known topic. So I'm just addressing it as in educational terms. But there's other people, again, like I was saying, there's other people that have better standards, higher standards. They have a program, or for example, a conditioning program. They have a schooling program. This is, I'm referring to people illegally and also legally in other countries. So because we have to acknowledge there's other countries that either it's still legal or it's illegal, but it's not something that it's what do you call it? That it's actively being thought out or looked out for or persecuted. So it's kind of like illegal, but not really illegal because nobody does anything about it. And we have places like China and Japan where it's definitely legal. They do that thing. For example, China, they could have it in a mall. You could have it right outside in the open. Same with Japan. They right in the open. But it's not. For example, Japan, there's no betting in Japan. As an example, they're not doing it for money. They're doing it for honor. But anyway, let's continue on because he's going to cover a lot.
Dogfighting in the 21st century. Now, keep in mind that 100 years ago, it was frowned upon, but
It wasn't frowned upon 100 years ago. I'm sorry. It might have been starting, but most people didn't even care about that. They didn't care about much things. But let's continue on because it's a lot.
A different world back then. And dog fighters gave us a great breed of dog that we all love, right?
Okay, at least you agree that the breed came from fighting dogs. The necessity of the fighting was to create the breed and to maintain and improve the breed. At least you can I confirm that just by this statement. But then you could contradict yourself afterwards. But the fighting created the breed. Let's get that. Let's get that. Let's get that clear. Let's clear that up. Fighting created the breed. Without the fighting, the breed wouldn't exist. Would not exist. Would not have improved. The fighting makes the breed improve. Let's continue on.
But now it's 100 years later. If y'all are still doing the same shit, and you're still breeding the same dogs, you ain't went nowhere. You're spinning your wheels.
Here, you can't agree if you're breeding these like game bred dogs, and you don't do anything with them, and you have those game bred dogs. You're right. You're stuck where the I guess the work ended. Whoever bred the last working dogs, the last fighting dogs, let's say, has the last hands in the cookie jar, last hands in the kitchen, because they're the ones that looked at the dogs before breeding them, looked at making sure that they are up to the standard of the breed. And so you're right. If you're not doing anything with the dogs and you breed those dogs to other dogs that it's the same level, you're spinning your tires, like you said. You're not going anywhere. You're not advancing the breed anywhere. As a matter of fact, you might be, if you continue doing that without actually doing any type of testing, any type of look, anything, then you're kind of you're going backwards, not forwards.
Why do you think that you deserve credit, or why do you think that you're any better than anyone? And the reason I ask these questions is
it's not about being better than anyone. It's, again, for the majority, the majority is all about money nowadays and before. Majority, everybody about money and ego. I agree with you on that. There's a smaller group of people that do this for the breed, has done it for the breed in the history, and they're still doing it in secret, and they're still doing it in countries that are still people are not persecuted by this. So this type of fighting. So people that are doing it for ego, for money, they're not doing it for the right things. And unfortunately, that's the majority of the people. I agree with that.
Because there's actually game dog groups on Facebook, Twitter, wherever you want to go, you can find them. And these fools talk openly about fighting their dogs. And
you got that right. People that are fools if they're talking about fighting dogs in the 21st century or fighting dogs in the United States. If you're talking about it, you are a fool. We are in agreement with that.
They brag about the shit, right? But here's my point. If you have a dog that's... All right, let me be more specific. You see these guys with their dogs, and they all have the same look right before they toss that dog into the pit. The dog, they're holding on to their fucking collar for dear life, and the dog is...
All right. First of all, it was not. If they're in the pit, they're not. They don't have collars anymore. You're holding them by the scruff, and probably the tail, or you're not. You're turning. You have the dog turned around so the dog that's coming in. Excuse me. The dog is already in the pit. Doesn't see the dog coming in. So you're showing that you have basic knowledge of this. But I respect you enough because I see you put yourself a tattoo, and I don't know who you are. Somebody just, again, if you see my video, sir, I don't know who you are. Somebody just sent me your video. I'll probably take a look at other videos from your channel, but I'm just addressing this video particularly. And clearly you don't know what you're talking about dog fighting because there's no collar involved, and ideally the other dog is looking inside the corner while the other dog comes in, and they turn, when the referee is over in the middle, they say face the dogs, then you turn them around, and then that happens. And why did the dog go crazy? Because it takes anxious to work. Like any working dog, when they know that they're about to work, they get anxious. So that is normal. So let's continue.
Ain't got a fucking bit of control over that dog. Just because your dog can fight doesn't make you a badass.
That's correct. People that fight dogs should not be doing that to make themselves act like they're tough or anything. It means nothing. You could be a peewee. Could be Pee Wee Herman holding that dog, and the dog could be an ace, pit general, and he's still Pee Wee Herman. All right, so we agree on that.
Doesn't even make your dog game, really.
That's right. Just be fighting the dog being aggressive. Any dog could be aggressive towards another dog. You could train any dog to attack another dog, or almost any dog to attack any dog. You could train almost any dog to be a dog aggressive. That is true, and it has nothing to do with gameness.
There's a lot of great fighting dogs that were champions that won many fights that were not game dogs. They just had a hard mouth and they were strong and they...
That's right. Many dogs, correct, that they didn't win through gameness. They won through ability.
Got the job done. Gameness it's a gift. You know what I mean? Just think about how hard it was to create a dog that was willing to give its life to get its job done. And these guys are out here bragging that they have a dog that's dead game and say, well, prove it. Motherfucker, why would you want to prove that? In order to prove dead game, your dog's going to die.
That's right. Stupid people, dumb people throw that dead game word a lot. I guess they seen something that's like, oh, he could have died, and that's why he's dead game. Because if I wouldn't have intervened, he would have died. So that would have made him a dead game dog. But I saved his life. I brought him back from death. Why is that something coveted? Remember the gameness is being undeterred, unwilling to give up. So that's really why we covet that trait, because it's so hard. It goes against the flight. It neutralizes the flight aspect of the flight and fight instinct of an animal. It removes the flight aspect and just makes it decide to just fight. There's no other option.
Dead puppies ain't much fun. The fuck you gonna do with a dead dog? And how does it help your ego that you're...
Again, the only reason the positive of having a dead game dog, obviously the dog will be dead, would be that if you have any pups from that, your quality of the dogs increases. The expectation of those puppies and the expectation of any frozen semen that you may have goes up, because the dog proved that it was willing to continue on even when the body says no more. That's fine, but it's not about ego. I know you're gonna say ego. For the few of us that love the breed, having the breed is not about ego. Having strong dogs is not about ego. It's just about preserving the breed.
Dog can go in a pit and win a fight. Motherfucker, that ain't you.
Right.
You ain't badass.
That's right.
It's not hard.
The only badass is if you're the breeder and you continue to breed dogs that act this way, that are willing to continue doing their work until they're no more, because these dogs can be bred to other animals for different tasks and hopefully get that type of mentality of being a hard worker. So a lot of band dogs use pit bulls, game bred pit bulls, game dogs, with their mastiffs to get themselves great guarding dogs. Anyway, let's continue.
What's hard is taking a dog with those genetics and teaching control.
That's right.
That's what's hard.
That's right.
What's hard is having a dog that is able to fuck up 90% of other dogs,
Mm-hmm.
and yet it doesn't.
That's right.
Because it understands that it's not supposed to.
It's
but
hard.
When that day comes, he just sits around all the time just wishing a motherfucker would.
No, they look for it.
When that day comes, he's willing to.
They're not waiting. A lot of times they look for
and
it.
He's willing to give his life for you. These guys that are just fighting their dogs, they're doing the opposite. They're not putting any work in. Their dog's doing all the work.
Well, hold on a second. Again, if we were talking about the bottom feeders, you're right. The people, they're not putting any work because they don't condition them. They don't. But a person like a better person, it's doing 2 months, 3 months of conditioning. So every day, almost every day, there's hours that he's spending with the dog. So he's up, or more than one person spending with the dog, trying to get the dog right and evaluating them, checking, see probably the blood, making sure that the dog is reacting well, is improving, blah blah blah.
Your dog is supposed to be a partnership, right? Is you put in work to teach the dog, and the dog puts in work to learn, and then together you create this magnificent thing. It takes no skill to fight dogs. No skill to fight dogs. It takes no skill to breed fighting dogs.
Yes, it does.
None
it takes a lot of skill. It takes more skill actually to maintain generational ability to breed dogs that are willing to work, and it's willing to work longer than half an hour, 45 minutes. It takes skill.
Chum, if that's all you can do with a dog, or that's all your dogs are good for, you're a failure.
Well, if you're breeding American People Terriers, that is the working aspect of the breed. Again, we're talking about education, historical terms, not in actual activity, but this is a fighting breed. So that was their stand. That was their expectation.
That's why those guys stay in the shadows, because over the last 20 or 30 years, with the advancements in dog training, especially, and what we've learned about how to train dogs, there are so many dogs that are so much more high drive and more intense and more powerful than your little 40-pound, 50-pound.
No, the difference here is the determination of not willing to stop, not willing to give up.
When these guys,
those dogs are not like that.
Slide out of the shadows and go around these other guys. They look ridiculous. They get laughed at. I mean, laughed right out of the fucking parking lot. A lot of these guys that have some of the most desirable pit bulls would walk into a dog show with some real dog men, They changed their mind. They'd end up pretending, oh, I'm just here to watch. Man.
No, that's your opinion, bro.
All of a sudden, that pedigree shit go right out the window.
Confirmation.
All that mouth they got on social media and standing behind their dog while it's fighting another
determines
dog right out the window.
Confirmation. So a working dog is a better confirmation.
You just can't compete. You can't hang. That's why you're trying to live like it was 100 years ago.
No,
it's not. It's 2000.
To see, people are trying to conserve the breed, and simply that's all they're doing. I'm not saying I'm saying in different countries, and yes, even illegally. There's some people that are still trying to conserve the breed, and that's why they still fight dog, unfortunately. But they're doing it, but a lot of them not doing it for ego, because this is a very dangerous activity.
2020, not 1920. You probably wouldn't have even been competitive in 1920.
Probably, you're right.
You damn sure ain't competitive in 2020. It was all about just a dog winning the fight. That's, you know how many other options there are? I mean, for fuck's sake, man, just go buy a grizzly bear if that's what you want. If you just want a badass animal that can rip shit up.
It's not about badass animals. It's an American breed. It's a great breed. It's the ultimate breed of dogs.
Balls that you want your dog to have.
It's not about people
like
having balls.
Everybody wants a game dog, but y'all don't want them that game. Y'all don't want them game enough to turn around and eat your ass up.
That's not game. I'm gonna leave it like here.
You take a real confident, badass dog.
Gameness is not about attacking people. Gameness is unwillingness.
Stick in his mouth, motherfucker. He will kill you and then turn around and finish eating that dog's ass up.
I'm gonna leave it there because I only have a couple of seconds. The breaking stick is about you holding a certain way so the dog doesn't bite you. This is what's going to say, but I only have a few seconds. So the breaking stick, you're holding the dog a certain way so he doesn't bite you. You put in this breaking stick a certain way so it opens the mouth just enough to let go whatever it's biting. So no, it's not about being nice. Anyway, this is Tony Montana. Until next time.